It is a beautiful January 23rd at Yesod Farm and Kitchen. Today is the 19th day of the Daf Yomi daily Talmud cycle. On today's page, the concept of Shev Va'al Ta'aseh is introduced. Shev Va'al Ta'aseh translates literally to sit and do not act. This was a legal principle employed by the rabbis to prevent the observance of a Torah commandment if it would cause harm or various other factors that might inspire them to prevent the observance of what otherwise would be an obligatory commandment. And so in thinking about how this concept of Shev Va'al Ta'aseh, sit and do not act, applies to our constructing of regenerative and sustainable food systems, we look at the development of industrial agriculture, and so many of the decisions that were made were seemingly on the surface not negative ideas, not bad ideas, right? That the concept of industrial agriculture is to produce as much food as possible. Some of that is to produce as much food in order to produce as much profit, but some of it is also to produce as much food so that more people eat. And that's a values-based duty in the Jewish tradition to ensure that people have access to food. And so is it a bad thing to use industrialized fertilizers and different applications of pesticides and herbicides and all these other things that have led to a lack of sustainability in our ecosystems? And so Shev Va'al Ta'aseh, sit and do not act, might be a principle that can give us a lens through which to investigate when is it that we have to sacrifice production for values? When is it that we have to sacrifice short-term production for long-term production? That many of the activities engaged in producing large quantities of food in a short period of time lead to greater challenge in producing healthy and enough produce in a long period of time. And so we have to not only consider the actions that we take and how we grow our food in the short term, but also perhaps all the more so in the long term. On yesterday's page of Talmud study, a certain Rabbi Choni Hama'agel, Choni the circle maker, was mentioned, and one of the most well-known stories about Choni is that he's walking down the street one day. This story is found in a different place in the Talmud, that Choni is walking down the street one day and he sees a man planting a tree, and he asks him, "Why are you planting a tree that you will not be able to enjoy its fruit? Because it takes many, many years for trees to produce food." And his response was, "My grandparents planted trees for me, my ancestors planted trees for me, and so I plant trees for my descendants." And so too should it be in how we consider the activities that we engage in to produce food, not only for today, but for future generations. And so Shev Va'al Ta'aseh, sit and do not act. Sometimes it seems wisest in the short term to do something, but when we realize that it has such negative ramifications and repercussions that we will have to undo and fix in later generations, there are times in which it is best for us to reconsider before making irreparable decisions.